Hey guys, welcome to Electronic Dance Money, your number one business resource for making money as electronic musicians and producers. What's up, everyone? I'm back with a brand new episode of Electronic Dance Money. I'm your host, Christian Casito, and something I have been thinking about over the past couple weeks, and something that I actually discuss pretty frequently with producers, is their following and fan base. And obviously, one of the biggest questions that is brought up and I see people talking about consistently is growing their fan base and growing their followers. Growing your fan base and growing your followers is easy if you want to put in the time and the effort that is involved with growing your fan base. A lot of people, just about everyone, is pretty self-centered. Everyone's looking out for themselves, rightfully so. I think you should. But because of that, and I think a lot of this has to do with social media in general, with people being able to just post whatever they want, whenever they want, the element of community in social media has just, it's going away. People are more worried about the content they're putting out and trying to get people to consume their own content, that they're not interacting with other people's pieces of content. And I'll tell you right now, this is the secret sauce. That right there is the secret sauce for you to grow your followers and your fans. And this is something I struggle with as well. The fact of the matter is, interacting with people's content within your community of whatever hashtag it is you consistently use, interacting with people's content and starting conversations in other people's content is how you will grow your fan base. It's how you'll grow your followership. This is the secret sauce. And the issue with that is it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of communication and a lot of relationship building within these comments and talking to people and consistently doing it and doing it on a lot of pieces of content. Now, I'd like to shout out Adam Ivy. He's puts out amazing content on producing and educating, especially with the business and entrepreneurial side of producing. He put out a video a few months ago, I think it was back in April, about getting 1,000 followers in 90 days. And this is actually one of the videos that inspired me to want to create this episode. And what he goes through in this is exactly what I'm telling you here. And this, I'm saying it's a secret sauce because most producers don't know that this is what they should be doing to grow their fan base, or they're just disregarding it. But it's not really a secret sauce. Anyone who's heavily involved with trying to grow a fan base, or they're an entrepreneur or a big musician, these people know that this is what you have to do. And a lot of these people have taken the time to do this, and that's how they grow their fan base. But it's a secret sauce because there are still so many people that don't even realize that this is what you're supposed to do. A lot of people think that you're just supposed to put out content and hope for the best, and people will start following you and enjoy and engage in your content. But here's the fact of the matter. Why would someone engage with your piece of content if you're not going to engage with anyone else's pieces of content? You're not providing any value to the community that you're trying to be a part of. You are creating value in the sense that you're creating content for people to consume, but you're not starting any sort of conversation or trying to start any sort of dialogue with anyone else involved in that community. So that's where we're going to start this episode. This episode's really all about why your fan base isn't growing and how you can start to make improvements to grow your fan base and get more followers and get more people engaged with your content. So obviously the first one is not engaging with other people's content within your community. What do I mean by that? Go on Instagram if you have hashtags that you consistently use, now this is a podcast for electronic musicians, so if you use the hashtag EDM producer in a lot of your posts, you should be clicking on that hashtag daily and finding posts that you like, that you're consuming, and start a dialogue in the comment section of that. Ask a question. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And show appreciation for what they're creating. What do you like about that piece of content, and how can you continue the conversation further? Now, when you do this, a couple things are going to happen. One, if it's not some outrageously big page where they've got thousands and thousands of comments, if it's just a relatively small person putting out content who has just a couple hundred likes and a few comments, if any, and most of the comments that'll be in the comments section are someone spamming. But if that's the kind of content you're engaging with, I guarantee that content creator is going to interact with you in their comment section. And just you commenting and starting a conversation and a dialogue from them, I guarantee is going to get them to click on your profile, and more than likely it's going to get them to follow you, especially if you follow them back. Now, the other thing that's going to happen is when other people come across this piece of content, because you're not the only one looking at it, they're going to see your comment and they might feel inspired to also start a dialogue with you and comment on whatever you're saying, especially if it's something really intriguing and very engaging. Now, what that is doing is getting this third-party person who has no idea who you are and might not even know who this person is, but they click on your profile and see all of your content that they enjoy, and they might follow you back. And it can start this chain reaction where people are engaging with what you're talking about. Now, if you do this on 10 posts every single day and start genuine conversations with people, it just snowballs. It builds up very quickly, and soon enough, you'll notice that you're actually getting a pretty consistent number of followers every single day. And these are people who are probably going to engage with your content because they're going to remember that you engaged with theirs, and they're going to support you. So this is really one of the big takeaways I want you to take from the episode that I'm giving you right away at the beginning, because I think it's so important. And anyone who's just going to listen to the first 10 minutes of this episode and move on, this is the one thing you should be listening to. So search for related hashtags, find posts you like, engage with that content and start conversations in their comment section, and make sure it's engaging. You want to make sure that you're actually showing interest in what they're doing and you appreciate what it is that they're posting about. Now, one of the other key pieces that you might be missing from just the content you're putting out. So let's say you've been doing this for a week and you've gotten a pretty significant number of followers in the past week. These are people that you're hoping to start engaging with your content and starting dialogue on your posts, but you might not be posting things with anything for someone to engage in dialogue with. How to actually get people to start engaging with your content and commenting on things is to tell a story through your post and start a dialogue there as well. A lot of people, what they'll do is they'll just post a piece of content, say what the content is, and that's it. And there might be a sentence, and then behind that are 30 hashtags. What I think you should be doing instead is write a paragraph. Don't just write a sentence, write 4 or 5 sentences about the piece of content you're creating, why you think it's important, and why you think other people might be able to relate to it. And at the end of that, end it with a question. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? Start a conversation there. Don't just leave it at what it's worth, and people, all they're going to comment on it is, oh, this is fire. You know, you don't want, it's great when people thank you for the content you're creating and think what you're creating is great. It's even better if they thank you and continue the conversation in your comment section and get the community engaged and involved. Start your post with a few sentences, a paragraph about whatever the piece of content is. If it's a track, tell people what inspired you to write the track, what some of your favorite parts are, maybe what your struggles are. People love hearing about your struggles. They want to hear your story behind something. So give them that story and end it with a question that's going to get people engaged and starting a dialogue in your comment section, because that's what these social media platforms are for. There's social, the word social is in the name. We want people to socialize, engage, and be involved in a community. And that's what you want for yourself, especially if you're a producer. You want fans to be involved in your community. Well, they can't be involved in your community if you're not starting dialogue, if you're not starting conversations in your posts. People want to feel a part of something. If they feel like every time they come to your page, they're going to be a part of a bigger picture, a bigger conversation, they're going to engage more and they're going to appreciate that so much more. So always be thinking about this when you're posting. How can you tell your story through the post? What can you write about it? And what question or conversation can you get started with in that last sentence? So these are the two key things that I see people struggle with the most, or that they just are not doing when they are creating pieces of content. A lot of people, I'm a key proponent on creating content and creating value for people to consume on social media. And something I've said so frequently in the past, but I think part of the issue with what I was talking about in the past is I wasn't ever giving a clear explanation into how you should be creating those pieces of content, and you could call it marketing them. So take what I've said in the past and be sure to apply this, because I guarantee this is what's going to help you grow your fan base and your followers tenfold over anything else. You can write the best track in the entire world, and if you don't start dialogue with that track, it might not go anywhere at all. All right, now that we've talked about some of the reasons why you're more than likely not growing your fan base or your followers at all, let's talk about things you can implement to grow your fan base even further. If you're a producer and you're just wanting to share your music with the world and get more fans to play more shows or whatever it is that you want to do, you want to share your music. There's a few ways of going around to sharing your music to a bigger audience that you might not have the ability to tap into, but other people do. Who are the other people I'm talking about? Music blogs are super underrated. People completely disregard them. Now, I'm not talking about going somewhere to like Submit Hub, because I think it's bullshit that you have to pay for someone to just review something and they might not even do anything with it. I don't think you should have to do that. And this is something that Alex and I talked about in episode 6, where you have to actually pay for record labels to just listen to your music. That doesn't mean they'll do anything with it or even respond. Just listen. That's outrageous. And so Submit Hub, I don't think it's a good place to go for that kind of exposure that you're trying to get. I think on Submit Hub, I think you can submit your tracks to music blogs for reviews and whatnot. That's not the right way to go. In my opinion, the right way to go is to, one, look for blogs that are within your reach. Ones that don't have millions and millions of viewers or page visitors. You don't want those ones because they're just a little too big, depending on where you're at. I mean, if you have a connection with them, then yes, you should go with that. But if you're a smaller producer with just a few thousand fans, you've got some leeway there. You have proven that you have something worthwhile that people engage with and people enjoy. So you're in a good position to pitch your music to these blogs for them to review and do a write-up for maybe it's just 10,000 or 20,000 people that are visiting their website a month and checking out the music that they're talking about. So how do you go about this? Well, obviously you need to search for these blogs. So a simple Google search for music blogs within whatever genre you have, and just looking around, finding ones that you know aren't too big, and where they're talking about people who you might not know about, but you look up and they have just as many followers as you. Boom, there you go. You've got a blog right there that is probably more than willing to talk to you about what music you're writing and if they can do something for you. Now, the key thing here is the interaction. Starting the conversation, that's the most vital piece. and not just starting the conversation, but the way you start the conversation. So first, you need to find out what their submission requirements are. And sometimes they'll have these on their website and sometimes they won't. Now, what I recommend doing is maybe not sending an email through your artist email. Send a personal one and ask them what their requirements are for submitting music for a write-up piece or a review piece. And sometimes what they'll actually do is send you a link to Submit Hub to submit it. And if that's the case and they want a ridiculous fee, I would disregard them, because that more than likely means that they're just going to take the bigger lump sum of cash, the more likely they are to write something up on you, and that's not necessarily worthwhile. You want people who really believe in what they're doing and they want to help artists and they want to share good music. Those are the true, genuine blogs you want, because if someone wants to write a piece up on you because they really enjoy your music and think you have something worthwhile, more than likely the people reading the blogs feel the exact same way the writer does, so they're much more likely to actually engage with your music and become a fan and a follower of yours. So you want to find out what their submission requirements are, and then once you have those submission requirements, then send them an email through your artist email. Make sure it's an artist email. Now, I will say this. If you don't have a website set up, I don't think you should be submitting anything to any blogs. If you don't have a website set up yet and you don't know how to get started on that, listen to the episode before this, episode 11, why websites are important for producers. I go through everything in there, but you want a central location where they can send people to check out the rest of your work. Spotify, obviously, you'll want to include those kinds of links. But when you have a website set up that says a couple of things to the blog writers, it shows your professionalism, it shows that you're dedicated, it shows that you're actually trying to create something of value to them. And that's what they want. Your music says most of it, but the rest of the stuff, how you look online, your presence, that's the other part of it, because they don't want to put out some shady producer who just has a SoundCloud link and that's it. They want to put out professional content, so do you. So you want to appear professional to them. Now, typing the email can be a little bit tricky, and I've actually got something for you guys for an email template. All you have to do is go to enviousaudio.com/email template. That's enviousaudio.com/email template. And I've got a free email template for you guys to download for signing up on my newsletter. Just sign up for the newsletter and you'll get a copy of the email template that you can just copy and paste right into your email, fill in the details, all of your links and everything, and that email will be ready to send immediately. Now, what you want to include in this email are links to your work, the music that you want to be reviewed. If it's not an EP, don't send multiple tracks. You don't want to send like 3 different singles. I would send the one single that you want to be reviewed, but then send them an additional link to like your entire Spotify library. So go, this is the song that I'd like to be reviewed or a write-up created on. But then if there's anything else that you like, here's a link to my Spotify account as well with all my other pieces of work. Now, make sure you include a photo of yourself too, a professional one. You want something that you use for your actual artist profile, whether that's your profile picture or not, but a really nice photo, as well as all of your social media links and, like I said, your website link. Now, this email template that I've got set up, it'll have all that stuff in spaces for you to just insert your links and everything you need. But once that's all set up, then you're ready to go. There's a really well-designed email that is going to be intriguing and people are going to want to check out. One thing I have not discussed is the subject line. Subject line is super important because that's what's going to attract people to either click on it or delete it or whatever. With the subject line, you need to keep it short, keep the most important things that you want the email to be about in that subject line, and make it very simple and focused. Now, what I always recommend putting is whatever your track name and artist name is. Now, what I would recommend putting is like your artist name, track, review. So for me, it would be like Christian Casito track 1 review for blog or something like that. But the point is you want the subject line to be simple, to the point, but show important headlines. What is it sums up the entire email is what you're going for. That is what's going to that's going to stick out to them from all the other emails that they're getting in their email box, and they're more than likely going to click on it. When you do send your actual track that you want them to review, I would also recommend you use a fresh, clean SoundCloud link. And if you use SoundCloud Pro, even better, because you can see who has played the track. So don't let anyone else play the SoundCloud link. You shouldn't hit play on it. If you don't have SoundCloud Pro, you're just using SoundCloud for free, it's fine then, because you can actually see how many times it's been played. So you know when someone's played the track, and check that every day. The other thing too is to follow up. If they haven't responded to your email in about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, send a follow-up. And the follow-up should be really plain and simple, like, hey, I know life gets in the way, emails get buried behind others. I just wanted to follow up to see if you guys had a chance to check out the track and if this would be a good fit for the blog. Simple. That's it. If they don't answer again in 2 weeks, follow up again. The key thing here is to follow up until they finally respond, but you don't want to follow up every single day. 2 weeks is a good enough range for if they forgot and you pop up again, they'll finally respond. You want a response from them, whether it's good or bad. You just need that response. And don't feel discouraged. If they say no to this one track, don't be afraid to send them another one in the future. I would wait a couple of months, maybe 3 months, when your production has gotten much better and you have something that you really like that you think that they would enjoy. Send them again. Do the exact same thing. The thing about music blogs is that if you get in front of the right audience, it can do a lot of really good things for you. More so, if people are Googling around and they stumble upon this blog, they might stumble upon your music. So it lives out there forever, and SEO is on your side with these blogs, because when people are searching specific keywords, they could possibly fall onto your music, but your other links aren't popping up. It's just this blog, but they find you through this third party. Now, if you can do this to as many blogs as you possibly can, you start to build up this momentum where people are more likely to find you and your music, and it can do a lot more for you. And if you can get at least one blog to write about you, this is something you could put in your credits. Not only that, but now you have a connection to a blog, which is huge. You have the ability to send them more music, for them to put you on blast some more and get in front of more people's eyes. Now let's talk about topic number 2 for this, for how you can grow your fan base and followers. And let's take this conversation offline. A lot of producers are thinking big picture in terms of growing their fan base, and they're thinking a little too big. They're thinking worldwide. They're sharing stuff online consistently, which is great. You should be doing all of that, but they're not thinking in a micro way. And what I mean by that is your local scene. How involved are you in your local scene? How much do you know about the other producers and DJs in your local scene? Do you know much about them at all? If you don't, this is where you could be screwing up the most. Your local scene carries a lot of weight. It carries a lot of weight for your name, not in just your local scene, but your regional scene. If you can tap into the network of your local scene, one, that's going to open up way more shows to you in your city or your state, but it's also going to open up a lot of doors for you regionally. So if you're in the US, somewhere like the Pacific Northwest, if you're involved with the music scene in Seattle, you know, if you interact with the people in Seattle and the people who are running shows, throwing shows and all that stuff, if you interact with those people, it opens up a lot of doors for you regionally in the California area and possibly the Colorado scene. There's a lot of opportunity there, but you can't get there regionally if you don't start locally. So what are some of the things that you can actually start doing to interact with people in your scene locally and get to know people so that they're more willing to help you and spread your name? Well, one, this is something that I have recently started, is start a local mastermind meetup group. Now, what's that? A local mastermind meetup group this is what I do monthly. I schedule an event on Facebook. I make it public so other producers can see it and possibly come. But once a month, it's the second Saturday of every month here in Austin, Texas. I invite all of my producer friends I know here locally. I tell them to invite any musicians they want to join. And I try to keep it niched down to electronic music because that's what we're all working in. But I always tell them, hey, invite other musicians if you know that might be able to provide some value to other producers, whether they're an instrumentalist or whatever. But this helps start the dialogue that we're talking about online. This helps start dialogue offline. So you interact with these people face to face, you build these friendships and these relationships. A lot of things start happening with this. If it's a local venue owner that comes, some promoter that opens up shows, he gets introduced to so many more producers, and they're able to build relationships with these producers or DJs that they can book for shows that could be you. And some of these people actually might even just turn into fans, and they might start sharing your music around. You'll probably become friends on Facebook, and when you post stuff about your music or whatever content you have, they're definitely more willing to share it and like it and talk about it. Now, if you don't want to start one, look for one. There's probably one in your city. A lot of people do these kinds of things, these local meetups, but if you can't find one, start one. Be the one to start the conversation and stay with it. It's going to be tough at first. You're going to have people that might not show up at all. You might only have one person show up, or you might only have two people show up. The smaller the group, sometimes it's even better because you have the chance to actually build a better relationship with those people. Go to shows. Go to local shows, mostly. You want to pay attention, not necessarily these big artist shows. There's usually too many people there, and there's not really people that are super involved in the scene there. A lot of it is like college kids or kids just out of high school that just want to party. Go to local shows. People who are local artists playing their own shows, or it's like a lineup of 4 local DJs and producers. Go to those ones because you're actually going to be able to interact with them, talk to them, really enjoy their show and appreciate what they're doing, and start that dialogue. Get their phone numbers, add them on Facebook, message them, and start a conversation with them. That is going to be huge for you because if you aren't already involved with these people in your scene and you start interacting with the people who are playing shows, they know people who are throwing them. So you want to build relationships with these people. You know, one thing that I talked to, I think I mentioned it in the branding episode with Alberto, is interacting with people who throw shows at colleges or people who do radio stuff at colleges, usually on Friday nights and Saturday nights, sometimes Thursday nights. They have some sort of dance show or top 40 DJ show that they're doing locally. This is a huge opportunity for you to interact with these people and eventually pitch them an idea for you playing a weekly show, or maybe it's a show once a month where you're actually guest hosting and you're playing a full hour-long set. It's great exposure for you in your local scene. There's opportunity for you to be dropping producer drops on those sets, dropping your name, and interacting with people within the community and playing shows that are local, that are being shown where thousands of local college kids are listening. That you're not necessarily in their face playing a show, but they're still able to enjoy something that you're putting on. And I guarantee if they're enjoying your show and they're getting ready for a night out, they're going to look you up on Facebook and like your page. Your local scene really is a great spot for you to start growing your network and your fan base. All right, so the third and final thing that we're going to talk about, we're going to go back online. We're going to go to one of my favorite apps of the past year. It's something that I am completely addicted to, and I've been calling it since, I will say this right now. I will say it. If you don't follow Gary Vee, you should. But he's the one he's been going off on this app for about the past 6 months. I've been going off on this app for the past year. I've been telling producers over and over and over again, you need to get on this app. You need to get on this app, and it's TikTok. I will fucking gladly say that I was at this before Gary Vee. So anyone who's going to shout at me saying, oh, you're just copying Gary Vee, no, that is complete bullshit, because I've been telling producers over the past year they need to get on TikTok. This app was made for musicians. If you don't know what TikTok is an app where creators go on and you can create up to a minute-long video using whatever audio you want that's already on the platform. So there's a lot of music on there where people do lip sync videos, and a lot of it is, or a lot of the videos are heavily based around the different kinds of transitions that the creators use, and it's a super awesome app that can get very creative for people who like creating video content and entertaining stuff like that. Now, there's a whole bunch of different audio clips that you'll find on there, famous YouTube videos or famous Vine videos that people create comedy videos for, but music is a huge part of TikTok, and it's gonna be it's in its infancy, and it is gonna, I mean, the app is growing so fast. I think there are over 1 billion downloads now on the app. I'm sure most of you listening to this have heard of TikTok before, but this is a place for you to break your music out. This is like one of the best places you can be for sharing your music. Now, if you're signed up on DistroKid, any music you release through DistroKid, you can actually upload onto TikTok's database through there, so you don't actually have to upload a video. Now, if you're not using DistroKid, I'm going to talk about some things some ways I see TikTok being very useful for producers. Now, obviously, when you have a new track come out, I think you can promote it on TikTok by taking 3 different minute-long clips from your 3-minute track and uploading those once every day and promoting your release. Now, why it's important to upload 3 different clips if you aren't releasing through DistroKid or you didn't just upload it into the database. The thing about creating like a still image video clip of your cover art with a minute long of your track, people can take that audio from your video and start using that for themselves. The issue with TikTok is you have about a 24-hour lifespan. Sometimes it's even shorter than that, 12 hours. If you don't get a significant amount of traction on your clip within about 24 hours, clip's dead. It's just dead. That's just how the platform works. No one knows how the algorithm works. It's another social media site, so it's hard to say exactly how their algorithm works, but I can tell you now that if you don't get traction within the first 24 hours, your clip's not going to go anywhere at all. So that's why if you're promoting your release, creating 3 different video sound bites to release over a week or something, you get 3 different opportunities for your clip to go somewhat viral, gain somewhat of a following, but people to actually take your audio and create different clips, whether it's a lip syncing video or it's a dance video. Now that right there is what I want to talk about, where I see TikTok being the best use for producers. Dance videos. Dance videos are huge on TikTok. People love dance videos. People create their own dances and the dances become viral, but the music with the dance also goes viral. They go hand in hand. Everyone starts making the same dance video for something that someone created, and you have the potential of getting millions of views on this app and gaining thousands of followers on your TikTok app, and then telling people to go to your Spotify page or your YouTube page or your Facebook page to start following you or whatever. I've seen producers who are not that good, who had a track go viral on TikTok because of some dance, and now they're ridiculously big. Producers that aren't that good, like tracks that are not that good. Producers who are nobodies that go viral overnight because of a dance video. I mean, TikTok is a breeding ground for viral videos and viral music. There's so much opportunity for producers out there to get their music to go big on something like this. Now, I've been thinking about ways to go about doing this whole dance video stuff. I think if you're able to get the contact information for someone who has a decent following on TikTok that does dance videos, now I would say I maybe aim for someone with 100,000 or less followers. Try to find their social media pages, contact them through there, or their email, contact them through there. Regardless, find out their contact information and treat an email or a message to them like you would a blog, kind of. I think you could be a little bit less professional. You can be more relaxed in the message or the email, because a lot of the people on TikTok are like 25 years and under, so they don't really give a shit. But reaching out to one of these people and seeing what they think about your track, and if they would do a dance video to your track, that's a good way. If you know someone that's a dancer that would be willing to do that for you, do that. Now, what I would say is I would create a video, like we said, a still image video of your track, post that on TikTok, and have them go to that video and take the audio from there. Because the thing about when you create a video, you can look at the audio, you can click on the audio on the bottom right of the screen, and it takes you to all the other videos that have been created with that audio from the original video. But at the top left, always up at the top left, that is bordered by a golden border outline, it shows the original video. People check that, people click that. So if you have your original video there on something that goes viral, people are going to click that, go to your page, and follow you immediately. So hiring someone to do a dance video that you know is a dancer for that, doing an actual professional dance video that you can put on YouTube and then chop it up and put it on TikTok over a month or two, that could be a really, really great way of doing promotion for your track. But regardless, producers, you need to be on TikTok. There is so much opportunity, and I see so many producers just not doing anything with TikTok or disregarding it, and they want to try something else. But I think this is where producers should be living and breathing and posting their music, because people are constantly looking for new content to use, new audio to use on TikTok, and this is your opportunity to do that, especially if you have a video that someone could do a lip sync video to, or like I said, a dance video to. So download TikTok now and get on it as soon as possible. You can follow me on TikTok at Envious Audio. That's it for today, guys. I really appreciate you checking out the video. Don't forget, head to enviousaudio.com/email template to get that email template for you to use for the blogs. Go on any social media, look up Envious Audio. You'll be able to find me. And guys, we've got a Facebook community. Head to Facebook and look up Electronic Dance Money Community. Should be the first group to pop up there. Request to join. I'll add you. We just talk business in there about how you should be applying some things. If you have any questions, you can post questions in there. It's a really, really great community with a lot of very knowledgeable people in there. Just about all the guests that I've had on there are in the group, so you can ask them questions there. Also, if you could, head to Apple Podcasts, rate and review the show. That would help me out so much, and I really appreciate that. Head to enviousaudio.com/episode 12 to check out the show notes for this show. Again, thank you so much, and I will see you guys next time.